I need people to understand that the Sino-Soviet split was not just some like, oh, that was just some dumb skirmish over nothing. No, the Sino-Soviet split was the principal contradiction, the principal antagonism. It is the most advanced antagonism in the history of the world, and the absolute concrete contradiction defining the era. Now, what's significant specifically about the Sino-Soviet split is the following scandal: that after the triumph of the socialist mode of production, from the transition from a capitalist mode of production to a socialist mode of production, there remains some kind of class antagonism. I need people to understand some context behind the Cultural Revolution, which was an extension of the Sino-Soviet split and an extension of this communist civil war where Mao was waging a war against the managerial class of world communism, including within China. When they were talking about in China, the capitalist roaders, they weren't actually talking about economic policy, because the Cultural Revolution did not affect economic policy by and large. The increasing decentralization and freeing up of markets after the Great Leap Forward continued throughout all of the years of the Cultural Revolution. It did not affect the actual changes at hand. There's a very smooth continuity between the Chinese economy after the Great Leap Forward into Deng Xiaoping's reforms after the Cultural Revolution. A very smooth continuity. When they were warning of the threat of capitalist roaders, they were not talking about anything relating to economic policy, because the economic policy was this kind of apparent capitalism. It wasn't capitalism, but it looked awfully similar to. There was increasing market exchange, there was an increased level of decentralization, and an increased level of like apparently private accumulation. It wasn't really private at all. Nothing was changed economically during the course of the Cultural Revolution. What they really meant by the capitalist roaders during the Cultural Revolution was not Deng Xiaoping's reforms. It was this fear that these economic changes that were happening already since the Great Leap Forward would give rise to the prevalence of a capitalist and bourgeois consciousness, and basically destroy the party, and basically destroy communism, and destroy whatever, the proletarian ideology. So the Cultural Revolution is called a cultural revolution because they viewed culture as the decisive site of what was at stake. We have to preserve proletarian consciousness because it seems like the economic base is changing in such a way that makes it easy for kind of capitalist roaders and bourgeois consciousness to prevail. And that's actually what happened in the ex-communist states, like in Eastern Europe and the USSR. I mean, it's literally what happened. What happened was the restoration of an apparent liberal, whatever, bourgeois capitalism, right? So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you have this crisis of consciousness in being able to understand what the objectivity of a socialist mode of production is. The Cultural Revolution was really decisive in bringing that out. What is the objectivity of a socialist mode of production? Is socialism reducible to some ideological project or some political project? Or is there an actual objective reality of a socialist mode of production? So that's what you're dealing with. And the decisive significance with the Sino-Soviet split is basically this: even if the socialist mode of production prevails, why is there this lingering threat of capitalist or bourgeois consciousness? Moreover, why does there remain what appears to be some kind of class antagonism? What did Mao, and then Mao's last campaign before he died, was basically the question: what does it mean for the dictatorship over the bourgeoisie to exist under socialism? Because the bourgeoisie as a class appears to have been eliminated physically. So why is there this bourgeoisie? Where is the bourgeoisie? It's like the basic question, the enigma of the Cultural Revolution. Because a lot of people are confused about the Cultural Revolution. It's a great proletarian Cultural Revolution, but where's the bourgeoisie? Now, Mao said something pretty heretical, pretty devastating, and I think it sums up a lot of the contradictions of contemporary socialism. Mao said, and it takes a lot of hermeneutics to be able to understand this, but he said something pretty shocking. He said, the bourgeoisie is in the Communist Party. That's what Mao said. He said the bourgeoisie is in the Communist Party. Now, my hermeneutic for interpreting what Mao meant by that is more or less that the class antagonism has become internalized, and that socialism, while acquiring an objective reality, has not eliminated the class antagonism that is internal to the party. The socialist mode of production always gives rise to the possibility of capitalist restoration through the forgetting of the original essence of the party. And it is within the party itself that the decisive significance of subjectively and superstructurally articulating the objectivity of socialism, that's where it becomes decisive. And if the party does not correctly articulate this objective and material socialist mode of production that it itself has ruled over politically, there will arise some kind of new bourgeoisie, some kind of new capitalist class, similar to the parasitical financial capitalist class that prevails in America today, which is purely institutionally safeguarded and stuff. So Mao wasn't strictly saying that the bourgeoisie exists within the party, but that the potential for the bourgeoisie is in the party. That's how I interpret it. Which means the party always has to safeguard and be vigilant against the possibility of the reemergence of the bourgeoisie. And that this is something that is internal to the party itself. It's not between the party and some external enemy. It's all internal to the party itself. That has some shocking implications.